radio killer. Big Snoop Dogg, the American dream.
People were starting to say it's an East Coast, West Coast rivalry because it was people that's trying to make money. It was true people trying to make careers. It was people trying to get famous. And Tupac's a legend.
I didn't make it happen and Puffy didn't make it happen. One night I was at my house and Puffy's son was over about like 9 o'clock. And I'm like, cuz, what time you going home? And he like, I'm spending the night.
What makes you say that Snoop not a real Crip?
Well, I'm going to say it like this. I'm not a Crip.
Snoop Dogg has spent decades building the image of a smooth-talking Crip from Long Beach, but Suge Knight just tore that image to pieces. In a raw prison call, Suge accused him of betrayal, manipulation, and living behind a carefully crafted mask. From stolen cars to setting up fellow Crips, the truth Suge shared doesn't just shake up hip-hop. It forces fans to ask if they ever really knew the real Snoop at all. Because let me tell you, Suge Knight isn't exactly known for holding back, but this time, his words hit like an actual bomb. According to him, all this talk about Snoop being a real Crip is nothing but smoke and mirrors.
I personally never seen Snoop pretty much act like a real Crip. Shit, Snoop, they went on missions against Crips.
He said he's never, not once, seen Snoop move like a real Crip. No missions, no street loyalty, no real-life actions that prove he was truly about that life. Just the look, the lingo, and the stage presence. All performance, zero substance. Suge makes it crystal clear. Snoop might talk the talk in interviews and songs, but when it came to walking the walk, he was always on the sidelines. And what's worse, Suge says people bought into it. The media, fans, and even other rappers, they believed the myth. They took the braids, the blue rags, and the laid-back Compton drawl as proof that Snoop was certified. But in Suge's eyes, it was all branded, carefully curated, carefully protected, and nowhere close to the truth.
Making hip-hop music for the past 22 years, being a gangster rapper, one of the, final frontiers, one of the lead guys in that movement, I just felt like, it was time to say something to, take the party.
What really takes things over the edge, though, is the next part. Suge doesn't just say Snoop wasn't a Crip, he says Snoop was actively working against real Crips. Suge claims that Snoop helped his camp set up other Crip members by feeding them information, where they lived, where they were hanging out, even setting up meetings that turned out to be traps. Suge says Snoop would guide them right into danger, and he did it without hesitation. To Suge, that's not just fake, that's betrayal. He draws a hard line. Real Crips don't do that to each other. They don't hand each other over. They don't guide someone into the lion's den and walk away clean. That kind of move, in his words, makes Snoop a snitch. Someone who plays both sides, looks out for himself, and doesn't care what happens to the rest.
Shit, Snoop, they went on missions against Crips. What else? Snoop can set Crips up for us. So I would take that hard to believe if he was a real Crip. He wouldn't be, playing the way he played him.
That's why Suge keeps calling Snoop a lizard, a guy who changes with every crowd, always surviving, always slipping away before things get too real. And the thing is, Suge doesn't say any of this like it's shocking to him. In fact, he sounds like he's known for a long time. He talks about how Snoop was treated like a Crip hero, but behind the scenes, he wasn't standing with the gang. He wasn't protecting people. He wasn't even neutral. According to Suge, he was helping take them down. These weren't just old grudges or jealousy. Suge's painting a very specific picture of Snoop as someone who benefited from gang culture without actually being loyal to it. Someone who knew exactly how to play the part but never had the heart to live it. And when it came down to it, he didn't just avoid danger, he pointed danger at other people.
Yes, so my pen was actually writing reality. So I had to pull back from certain things and say, maybe I should start writing about life.
Moreover, Suge Knight didn't hold back when he compared Snoop Dogg to a lizard. And no, he wasn't talking about the rapper's fashion or swagger. He meant something a lot deeper and way more insulting. According to Suge, Snoop shifts his personality depending on who he's standing next to. That's where the lizard component comes in. Suge says Snoop's whole identity changes like skin color. Around pimps, he acts like one. Around pastors and religious leaders, suddenly he's holier than thou. Suge laid it out in simple terms. Snoop doesn't have a real self. He's whoever the moment needs him to be.
Nothing really bad to say about Snoop. Snoop like a lizard. He changed colors with anything he be around. When he was with Don Juan, he was pimping.
The pimp phase Suge's referring to isn't just random. In the early 2000s, Snoop started showing up with Bishop Don Magic Juan, a former pimp turned spiritual advisor, wearing fur coats, green suits, and even carrying a chalice around like a stage prop. In 2003, Snoop declared himself Snoop Dogg the Pimp at the Players Ball in Chicago. That wasn't a one-time act. He leaned into that image heavily in interviews, on BET, and even at award shows. Suge uses that era to make his point. Snoop turned into a character that fit the crowd.
I'm finna call with these people from Sony on the phone. They think the song is done, so I need you to rap your ass off until I say cut it off.
Then came the preacher phase. Suge brings that up too. Back in 2018, Snoop dropped a full gospel album called Bible of Love, 32 tracks deep, featuring gospel legends like Fred Hammond and the Clark sisters. He promoted it on The Breakfast Club, saying he always had church in his heart and wanted to use his platform to uplift. But Suge says this wasn't real either. It was just another example of Snoop changing color again. One year, he's at the Players Ball. The next, he's standing in front of a church choir. Suge's message: if you're always switching up, then nothing you're showing is the real you. Moreover, Suge Knight didn't just come with heavy accusations about street loyalty. He also brought up something that sounded oddly specific, but told a much bigger story: a 1961 Chevy. According to Suge, Snoop borrowed that car from him and never gave it back.
Snoop owed me I let him use one of my 61 Chevys. I ain't never got it back. They committed fraud on the title and sold it or something. I don't care about all that material stuff.
It's not just about a classic car going missing, it's what happened after. Suge claims that somewhere along the line, the title was tampered with or outright sold in a shady way. To this day, he says the car never came back, and the records around it were all messed up. But here's where it gets deeper. Suge says he doesn't even care about the car anymore. He's not stuck on the material loss. He's pointing to something more personal. In his words, it's about broken trust. The car was a symbol. When you let someone borrow something that is valuable, especially something from your personal collection, it's supposed to mean they're close, they're family. But when that person doesn't return it and then lets the paperwork get dirty, that's about how you treat people who once had your back. And yet, despite everything, the Crip accusations, the betrayal claims, even the personal slights, Suge turns the conversation in a different direction. He starts talking about something bigger than himself, bigger than Snoop, even bigger than their beef. Suge says hip-hop has reached a place where the personal drama needs to take a back seat. He believes the culture is too important to let old grudges keep it stuck. In fact, he says that if putting all this behind him can help artists, especially young ones, then it's worth it. Suge goes a step further. He talks about creating a real structure, something hip-hop has always lacked. A union, a system that protects artists, gives them support, helps them avoid the trap so many have fallen into. He even says that if Snoop is willing to help build something like that,
if we're doing something positive for hip-hop, like getting a union to help these artists and do something great, I'm all in, no matter what.
He's open to working with him, not because they're friends again, but because it's time to grow past the mess and do something useful for the culture. That's a big statement coming from someone who built a career off not backing down. But just because Suge is willing to move forward doesn't mean he's forgotten the rules, especially when it comes to what being a real Crip means. In Suge's world, and in the world of people who actually live the gang life, being a Crip isn't about the blue bandanas or rap lyrics. It's about loyalty. It's about protecting your people, standing beside them when it's hard, and never putting them in danger for your own gang. According to Suge, Snoop broke every one of those rules. And now, the questions are starting to stack up. Suge's not the only one speaking out. After years of seeing Snoop as a laid-back West Coast legend, fans are starting to look at him differently. If he really did help set up Crips, if he really did change faces depending on the room he was in, then what else don't we know? What other stories haven't come out yet? A lot of people grew up idolizing Snoop. He was on TV, in commercials, and family-friendly content. He was funny, cool, and harmless. But if what Suge's saying is true, then there's a whole other side to the story, one that fans never saw. And once that vision of the truth gets out, it becomes harder and harder to separate the music from the man. Because maybe the Snoop we all thought we knew, the Crip, the boss, the icon, never actually existed at all. Don't you think so?